The Echo Children, a supernatural horror novel. Prologue. By a quiet lake in the hills, the town of Westmere had always been the kind of place where nothing happened. People lived their lives without incident, children played without supervision, and the church bell rang every Sunday like clockwork. It was the kind of town people left behind when they grew up, and the kind of town some never left at all. It started with a whisper. Not one that anyone heard, exactly. It was more like a thought that appeared uninvited, in the middle of dinner, while folding laundry, or just before sleep. The first time it happened, little Annie Loomis said, "He's going to fall off the ladder," as her father climbed onto the roof to fix a loose shingle. He didn't hear her. But 2 minutes later, he did fall. No one was hurt, but Annie's mother asked how she'd known. "I just knew," Annie said. That should have been the end of it. But then others began speaking too. Not just Annie, but children all over town. They would say things like, "The car won't stop, she's under the floorboards, don't go near the water." And sometimes worse things. At first, parents laughed it off. Coincidence, they told each other. Children overhear things. Children repeat what they shouldn't. But soon, the phrases stopped being strange and started being true. Mrs. Harlow's daughter whispered, "Grandma's heart will stop tonight," just after supper. That night, Mrs. Harlow's mother died quietly in her sleep. A boy named Thomas said, "The baby is already gone," just as his older sister brought home her newborn. She hadn't told anyone yet, but the child had died inside her weeks ago. She hadn't known herself until the doctor told her. People stopped laughing. Soon, no one wanted their children to speak. Teachers kept them quiet during lessons. Parents covered their mouths when strangers came near. But the words still came, soft, certain, terrible. Then came the second phase. One morning, old Mr. Bellamy found his grandson standing barefoot in the hallway, staring at the wall. "What are you doing?" Mr. Bellamy asked. The boy didn't turn around. "She's telling me things," he said. "Who is?" "The girl." "What girl?" The boy pointed to the wallpaper, where a faded stain had always looked like a handprint. "She says her name was Clara. She says she was 7 when they put her down there." Mr. Bellamy didn't ask where, because he already knew. In 1953, a fire burned down the old Westmere orphanage. 5 children were lost in the flames, or so the story went. Some said the fire wasn't an accident. Others said the children weren't really orphans. But everyone agreed on one thing. No one ever spoke of it again, until now. The children didn't remember saying the words. When asked, they blinked in confusion. "I don't know why I said that," they would murmur. But the voices kept coming. Clara, Billy, Lila, Henry, Mabel, names no one remembered, spoken by mouths too small to carry such grief. And the predictions changed. No longer warnings, now demands. "Bring him to the woods. You owe us. We're not finished sleeping." Parents locked their doors. Some fled the town, but the children followed, walking for miles barefoot if they had to. They always came back. On the 3rd Friday of November, the mayor's daughter stood in the town square and screamed. Her mouth moved, but it wasn't her voice. It was all of them. All 5. "We want our bodies back," she said, and then she smiled. The kind of smile that doesn't belong to a child. After the scream in the square, nothing in Westmere was the same. Some families left that very night. Others tried, only to find their cars stalled at the edge of town, tires spinning in mud that hadn't been there before. One man walked 10 miles out and found himself back at his front door, with no memory of turning around. The mayor's daughter didn't speak again, but she stared, always at the same spot, the lake's edge. And at night, she whispered names in her sleep. Not just the 5, new names. The children who had been possessed became quiet, almost hollow. They didn't cry, they didn't laugh. They simply waited. Teachers reported that their eyes no longer tracked movement. Parents said they'd find them standing in corners, unmoving for hours. Then the digging began. At first, it was only dogs pawing frantically at the dirt behind the old church. Then came the children. Dozens of them, walking barefoot in the fog, carrying spoons, shovels, even their bare hands. They dug without stopping. When asked why, one boy replied, "They're not all here yet." One night, the earth gave way. Beneath a crumbling foundation, police discovered a hidden room. Charred walls, tiny beds, chains bolted to the floor. And the worst part, a door, half burnt, still locked from the outside. Inside were remains, not 5, more, 15, 22, all children, Some still had name tags stitched into what was left of their clothes, and all of them had died long before the fire. The town panicked, the pastor resigned, the archives were raided. A single page in a crumbling ledger listed the hollow ones, a term no one could explain. No records of adoption, no guardians, just initials and dates, all ending in 1953. Then, more children started whispering. They want the others. There are more rooms. They're still waiting. They want to be born again. Some mothers reported nightmares. Dreams of empty cribs. Dreams of hands pressing up from beneath the floorboards. A few women awoke with handprints, small ones, across their bellies. One woman, not yet showing, vanished. Her husband found the words, "We'll be whole," etched into the nursery wall. No one knew who would be next, but the children did. They always did. The lake froze overnight. No wind warned of the coming cold. No frost curled on window panes. It was early autumn, but by morning a thick sheet of ice had sealed the surface of Lake Westmere, as if the water beneath had simply chosen to stop breathing. No one skated. No one dared. The children had stopped whispering, but their silence carried weight. Heavier than words, as if whatever they'd summoned had stepped fully into the world, and now listened. Inside shuttered homes, families clutched rosaries, salt, old photographs. They did not speak of the island that wasn't supposed to be there, a shape of land newly risen in the center of the lake, dark with trees no one remembered, circled by mist that never lifted. The mayor's daughter sat by her window, still mute, still writing the same word in the frost. Listen. The sound came in the night. A soft, breathless hum, tuneless, ancient. It vibrated through floorboards, radiated up through drains, hung in the air like mist. Some heard it in dreams. Others heard it with their eyes open, always faint, always just under the range of comfort. The children had names again, but they weren't their own. When asked who they were, they'd say things like, "Clara's here now," or "I'm Henry again." Some said nothing, some began to sing, and from the lake came an answering echo, not quite human, not quite sound. They disappeared in ones and twos, only those who had once whispered, only at night, no screams, no broken locks, no signs of struggle, beds left cold, pillows undisturbed. Sometimes muddy footprints trailed from the bedroom door to the attic or the basement. Once, a parent found a small handprint on the inside of their window, frost on the glass, smeared outward. One house was left unlocked, the front door wide open to the fog. Inside, the crib was empty. The nursery mobile spun slowly, though the air was still. The town didn't search. Not anymore. They knew where the children had gone. It happened at dawn. The lake thawed silently in the dead of winter. No steam, no melt, just water where hours before had been ice. And in the center, the island. People came not because they wanted to, but because something in them answered the call. Drawn from bed in robes and coats, from cellar and steeple, barefoot or wrapped in shawls, all eyes on the lake, the children stood on the island, pale and still. Not just the missing ones, all of them. Dozens, maybe hundreds. A chorus of small, silent mouths parted as one, and then music. Not with voices, but with breath, like the wind humming through broken reeds. It wasn't melody, it wasn't song, it was ritual. The bone choir had begun. That same morning, 5 women woke from the same dream. In it, they stood at the edge of the lake, barefoot and bleeding. The children floated beneath the surface, eyes open, mouths wide, singing into the depths. The water pressed against their bellies. Warm, welcoming, they awoke with a name on their lips. Each name was different. Each name was old. Each woman was pregnant. Only one had previously known. The women began to change, not all at once, not in ways doctors could chart. One no longer cast a reflection. Another's voice echoed back at her from walls that shouldn't echo. A third could no longer remember her own childhood, not a face, not a birthday, not a single lullaby. They became vessels, not mothers. And the children inside them grew. Too fast, too quiet. One woman, the youngest, was found standing in her garden before dawn, both hands on her belly, whispering a lullaby in a language her grandmother had spoken, but which she herself had never learned. On the 7th night, the children came back. Not all of them, not alive. They came with the fog, hand in hand, soaked and shivering, faces slack, eyes deep with memory. They did not speak. They did not blink. They stood on porches in fields behind rain-streaked windows and waited. One man opened his door. The child outside, his son drowned 6 days ago, reached out and took his hand. The man followed. He was never seen again. The women were brought together, not by choice, not by plan. They simply walked through fog, through forest, across frozen fields, drawn to the lake. The island waited. There, the bone choir sang in one endless breath, and beneath the trees something vast stirred, a rhythm older than language, older than fire, a hunger for wholeness. One by one, the women stepped into the water. The children followed. No splash, no scream, no resistance, only ripples. Then mist, then silence. The sun rose and the island was gone. Only the lake remained, still, mirror-like, as if it had never been disturbed. Years passed. Westmere is no more. Nature reclaimed it. Trees split pavement, moss swallowed signs, the church bell cracked and fell. But on still nights, hikers say you can hear it, soft and slow, curling from beneath the lake. Children humming. And if you listen too long, you'll find yourself humming too. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Drop a comment below and let me know what you'd like to hear about next. I'd love to hear your ideas.